My name is Ted Olson, and I'm here to talk about Doc Watson. Doc Watson was a beloved musician and a really wonderful person that many people respected and wanted to be around and to learn from and to enjoy his music. And he was from Western North Carolina, from Watauga County, right down the road from Lees-McRae College. And I'm here just to share a few thoughts about Doc Watson with you folks. The goal, I think, the hope is that you become interested in knowing more about Doc Watson. If you don't already know about Doc Watson, you're in for a treat because he's really one of our great traditional artists in the United States. But his music was in some ways, in very quiet ways, innovative and revolutionary even. It's hard to imagine contemporary bluegrass music without the influence of Doc Watson, for example. So even though he was a humble fella, he cast a long shadow and continues to be appreciated. His recordings today and his influence is seen and heard on concert stages and on recordings, frankly, all over the world. He had an international impact. I helped to put out a box set of Doc Watson recordings and wrote a book. This is a book box set of 4 CDs with 101 recordings by Doc Watson from throughout his career, from 1941 through 2011, I think is where it ends. So the entirety of his lifespan, of his recorded career, we have recordings on this set. And you can enjoy them sequentially, chronologically, and learn about who Doc Watson was and the story of his life. And it's a very American story. It's a very Appalachian story. It's a very unique story. You know, it's Doc's story, which is unlike anyone else's story. He was a singular musician in the ways in which he took traditional styles and repertoire and kind of modernized them. And he was, like we said, he was somebody who was unafraid of taking on more contemporary and popular musical components and mixing them with traditional components and creating his own sound and his own blend. And it was a very entertaining and engaging blend that he would play on the guitar. He was a master guitar player in several styles, specifically flat-picked guitar and finger-style guitar. And these are different techniques of ways of playing the guitar. He was an acoustic guitar master who grew up playing the electric guitar in a country band in East Tennessee. So from Western North Carolina, was a popular player in East Tennessee during the 50s before being discovered in the 1960s. He, discovered by the outside agents of the recording industry. A fellow named Ralph Rinsler came to Western North Carolina looking for traditional musicians, found Doc, and the rest is history. Doc, of course, was already a master musician at that moment, so he had already established his way of playing and had already, made a few recordings, not many, but he went on to having a very lucrative recording career in the respect that he kept his family, looked after with his professional career as a recording artist and a touring artist. And he did tour all over the world, and sometimes representing the United States government and sometimes on his own, often on his own. He was on tour a great deal. He had fans and friends all over the world, people who flocked to hear him play at every opportunity. He came to Lees-McRae on multiple occasions and was a tremendous performer here at Lees-McRae. 2009 was his most recent of many performances at Lees-McRae, and people of the school and the alumni remember Doc. He was a friend to Lees-McRae. We're going to celebrate Doc Watson's legacy in conjunction with the release of this new box set and book at Lees-McRae on Saturday, November 13th, from 3:30 to 5:30 in the afternoon. We'll host a commemorative concert, a celebration of a life in music. Doc Watson tribute concert in a sense. And we'll have musicians ranging from Jack Lawrence, who recorded and toured with Doc, so who knew Doc extremely well, was kind of one of, well, frankly, was Doc's longest associated musician throughout his career. He'll be at Lees McRae to talk about Doc and play Doc's music. Joining Jack Lawrence will be Wayne Henderson, the great guitar builder and guitar player. Wayne Henderson is legendary and was a good friend to Doc Watson, so he'll be here. And then there'll be Jack Hinchelwood, the former executive director of the Crooked Road, Virginia's Heritage Music Trail. So Jack Hinchelwood he's a guitar champion as well. We'll talk about Doc's influence on guitar players throughout Appalachia. And then we'll also have musicians, Trevor McKenzie from Appalachian State, a wonderful old-time musician and a scholar. We'll talk about Doc's influence. And we'll also have a band called Mike Compton and the ETSU Old Time Ramblers. And they'll play kind of a larger band style of performing old time music, the same repertoire that Doc loved. So it'll be a celebration of the music that Doc created and a celebration of the music and culture that Doc loved and supported throughout his life. Doc was very much kind of, you might consider him as an ambassador of Appalachia as he traveled the world and reflected Appalachian values and Appalachian, music and culture. And he did it so incredibly well and with a sense of humor. He was a great entertainer. I mentioned, of course, he was, a master guitar player, considered among the greatest acoustic guitar players of all time. And he made many recordings, so that his legacy of recordings speaks for itself in terms of his mastery on the acoustic guitar. Anyone who heard him live can testify to the thrilling nature of his guitar technique. He would take risks while playing particular tunes that no one else would do, and he was a very successful improviser on traditional melodies, and he would play contemporary songs beautifully. Doc was also a wonderful singer, had a beautiful kind of baritone voice that was very authentic, and he clearly articulated lyrics. He had a rich, warm kind of tone and timbre. It was a unique combination of amazingly precise guitar playing and rich and vibrant vocals. Doc was really a versatile musician, of course. He could also play the banjo, he could play the harmonica, and frequently played these different instruments on his recordings. And then the new box set kind of documents the varieties of musical sounds that he created, both as a musician, as a singer, and as an occasional songwriter. He was a very fine songwriter on occasion when he would write a song. There are several examples of that on this set. He was a great comedian too. There's some examples of his comedic storytelling on this new box set that I imagine we'll all be recognizing on November 13th when we celebrate Doc's legacy at Lees McRae College that afternoon. And so I would simply like to encourage folks to, if you have never heard Doc Watson, maybe check out YouTube or something like that to hear a sample of his performing on YouTube. There are many examples of his guitar and even a few of his banjo playing on YouTube, and his singing, of course, is throughout the documentation of Doc's career on YouTube. But really important, I think, is to hear his original recordings, which are on this new box set, which will be released to the world on November 12th, the day before our November 13th celebration. So it's a kind of a, it's a premiere, performance on the 13th, commemorating the release of the box set on the 12th. The box set is available as a digital download, also as a physical book with physical CDs, so people can get it, digitally produced or the physical copy where they'll actually have the CDs in hand and can take them with one wherever one goes, to have a sound of Doc wherever one wants it. And the book itself is the complete story of Doc's career that I wrote, and it includes many interviews with the people who knew Doc the best, people like Tony Rice and Jack Lawrence and T. Michael Coleman and Tom Paxton and many other people that told their version of the story of Doc. David Holt also is a part of that. So I did want to mention that the story in the book is the complete narrative of Doc's career and life. There are also extensive annotations of the actual recordings in the box set, so people can learn about the musical tradition and the more contemporary recordings that Doc brought to us through his recording career. And the annotations help us to put those recordings in context, kind of have a cultural sense of where those songs and tunes come from. So again, November 13th, it would be 3:30 to 5:30 in the afternoon that day at Evans Auditorium on the Lees-McRae campus. Will be wonderful musicians remembering Doc Watson, commemorating Doc Watson's great legacy, and just honoring a great Appalachian icon and a great spirit and a great musician, and having a good time gathered together. We will ask that people bring their masks because of the COVID concerns, so just mention that. But it'll be a comfortable place in which to enjoy the legacy of Doc Watson and to learn about one of the great musicians of all time from any region in any part of the world, who happens to be from right here in where we live and right down the road from Lees-McRae College. And should you have any questions about this event, please don't hesitate to ask. And thank you.